Hello, welcome back to another fantasy football video. I hope everyone is doing fantastically well here with my first draft ahead of the FPL 2022-23 season. Before we do get into it, I do want to give a quick shout out to my main man, Oreo Brown, for helping me out with these fresh new graphics. Without further ado, let's get straight into this one. So I posed the question, who is the best 4.5 million goalkeeper? Now for me, leading the line is Robert Sanchez of Brighton. He scored 126 points last season. Within that, he made 101 saves, picking up 11 clean sheets. Now, obviously, as mentioned, there is a little bit of competition amongst the 4.5 million goalkeepers with the likes of Raya from Brentford and Meslier from Leeds. Now, with Raya, Brentford have recently signed Strakosha, so that number one position could be up for grabs for him. And Brighton did fare better than Leeds and Brentford in terms of goals conceded per 90, with Brighton conceding 1.2 and Leeds conceding 2.2 per 90. So for me, the best pick thus far is Sanchez. Now, leading on into the next player, we go with the main man. Some people may say he's a bit of a no-brainer. It is Trent, and I think 54.3% of you agree that he is a little bit of a no-brainer. Scoring 208 points last season, he managed 14 goal contributions with 32 bonus points. With that favourable first fixture against Fulham, he really could hit the ground running this season. Now, with the next position, it really does pose the question, do we go for Cancelo or do we go for Robertson? Both looking like very good 7 million options in defence. Now, Cancelo picked up 8 attacking returns last season and was a mainstay of that very solid Manchester City defence. For me, it's more about kind of like splitting up the risk in terms of your defenders, doubling up on those Liverpool defensive assets. In the past, hasn't actually paid much dividends for me personally. Now, Manchester City don't have the most favourable start to the season with West Ham United away. However, they are arguably the best team in the league, so it shouldn't necessarily be too much of a problem for them. Moving into the next asset, we go for the 5 million man, Matty Cash. He picked up 4 goals and 3 assists last season. And for me, Matty Cash is more about targeting those first couple of game weeks. He plays against Bournemouth away in the first week and plays against Everton at home. So it's really just targeting those weaker sides in the league, hoping he can pick up maybe an attacking return and potentially that Diego Carlos coming in to that defensive setups, shore them up a bit and hopefully get them a clean sheet. Now, the next option really does pose a big question in the defence, and that is who is the best 6 million defensive asset. 42.9% of you seem to think it is Reece James, and I am inclined to agree with you. He really did show at points last season how good he could be. It was just those injuries that kind of let him down. We do also have the likes of Laporte, Diaz, Chilwell, even Matip coming in at the 6 million mark, so there is a lot of competition there. But with Reece James having that Everton away fixture to start with, and if he continues to play on that right hand side, he could be absolutely deadly for Chelsea. Now, the next asset we are going for is Bruno Guimaras for Newcastle. He was on very good form towards the back end of last season. He had an XG of 0.5, which is actually a lot better than some of the other midfielders and attackers that we are going to come and talk about. He picked up 5 goals and 1 assist. It was a very favourable starting fixture against Nottingham Forest. I also do like with Bruno Guimaras, he's a bit of a safety net. You see a lot of people going for the likes of Pedro Neto, even the likes of Bailly for Aston Villa. Being 6 million, he provides you a little bit of a safety net to be able to transfer down to those players if they're playing well, and also if they're not playing too well, then it's easier to move to someone within that similar price bracket rather than being stuck in that sort of 5.5 million price range. And so Bruno Guimaras for me looks like a pretty solid option in the midfield. Now next, we are moving on into the premium assets. It is Mohamed Salah, and I've got to say, I was making a few notes before this, and the only thing that I wrote down for Salah is the king, and it seems like 56.9% of you agree with that. Coming in at 13 million, he definitely justifies that price tag with 265 points picked up last season. Now, with the likes of Mane going to Bayern Munich and with the likes of Jota being injured, He looks like he's going to be their main man yet again this season to be grabbing the goals. Obviously, he is on penalties, which is a massive, massive bonus for us in terms of FPL. Liverpool also do have very, very good starting fixtures, and he looks like he's going to be the captain of the majority of FPL teams for Game Week 1. Even Game Week 1 through to Game Week 5, he could quite comfortably be your captain for every single game. So yeah, Salah, the king, most definitely going to be on my side for this year. Then moving on into the next spot, and it's probably the most interesting spot in midfield for me, and that is the 8 million mark. We have the likes of Mason Mount, we have the likes of Saka, we have the likes of Maddison, and we have the likes of Kulusevski, all coming in at 8 million, and I've been chopping and changing between all of them, and I'm still properly yet to decide which one I'm going to be going for. I'm leaning towards Diaz with that Jota injury. It looks like he's most likely going to be starting for the majority of the opening 5 fixtures, which, as mentioned, Liverpool do have a very favourable starting 5 fixtures. He also outperformed the rest of those players in terms of XG, and also being a part of the Liverpool setup, just the best team arguably out of all of those players mentioned, seems to kind of put him, for me, at the top of that bunch. Now next we're going for, I think, a little bit of a different pick. I haven't heard too many people talk about Odegaard. I've seen people mention the likes of Martinelli, the likes of Smith Rowe, but no real mention for my main man Odegaard. He picked up 7 goals and 4 assists last season. He's Arsenal's captain, so he's more sure to play than the likes of Gabriel Martinelli, who could easily be rotated in those first 5 fixtures, and those first 5 opening fixtures for Arsenal look very, very good. They have Palace away, Leicester at home, Bournemouth away, then Fulham at home, and Aston Villa at home. So I'm going for a little bit of a different pick here with Martin Odegaard. And the next player we are going for is the main man, Erling Haaland, freshly transferred in from Manchester City. And it does pose the question, to Haaland or not to Haaland? With the main competition obviously being Harry Kane, Haaland did pick up 22 goals and 8 assists in 24 appearances for Dortmund in the Bundesliga. Will he get penalties for Manchester City? We know that they haven't actually been the greatest side on penalties in the past few seasons, so he could easily come in and pick those up. That is compared to Kane, who picked up 17 goals and 9 assists in 37 games last season, but obviously that is arguably against better opposition. Now Haaland is actually the second most owned player in the game, coming in at 58.8%, and that is only behind one man, and that is the next player, which is Gabriel Jesus of Arsenal. This seems to be like a fantastic move for Arsenal. He really fits their style of play. And last season, he picked up 8 goals and 8 assists from Manchester City with 120 points. He's already picked up 4 goals and 2 assists in pre-season so far. He's coming into the season with electric form, and with those favourable Arsenal fixtures, as already mentioned, he could be absolutely deadly in front of goal. So Gabriel Jesus finishing off our starting 11 here. I'd say that looks reasonably strong. Leave your comments down below as to how you think this team has lined up. Hopefully there's been a couple of different picks in there as well. Just to finish off the team, we're going to take a little look at the bench. Now the real question for me with the bench is, do we go for completely dud options across all of the bench? You can see with the likes of Ward for Leicester, he's a 4 million goalkeeper. He could potentially play now that Schmeichel is out the door, but I do think that transfer is actually dependent on them getting a new goalkeeper in. But, you know, it's good to hope. As you can see, I've gone for Tomiyasu there for Arsenal, coming at 4.5 million and 11.7% selected. He's a very popular player this year. But it's not quite the completely dud option of Nico Williams that would give you that extra 0.5 million to somehow spend elsewhere. We do have Andreas for Fulham, freshly signed from Manchester United at 4.5 million. Yeah, he looks like he's going to be great, especially if he can play in that kind of number 10 role, which many people are speculating that he may well play. And then we've got Plange finishing us up for the 4.5 million attacker. That is the complete dud option. Obviously, with the 4 million defender and the 4.5 million midfielder, you know, we can expect those guys to play, and I'm definitely expecting Tomiyasu to play at 4.5 million. That is how the team completely lines up, with Sanchez, Trent, Cancelo, Cash, James, Guimaras, Salah, Diaz, Odegaard, Haaland and Jesus. Leave your comments down below. Give this team a little rating. Don't forget to hit that like button if you have enjoyed the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're new around here, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.